Good morning, police emergency. How may I assist you?
Good evening and a special welcome to Ghana Police Watch. This evening, our focus is cybercrime. Put simply, cybercrimes are crimes committed on or with the aid of the electronic media, such as the internet. These days, millions and millions of people are using the electronic media in so many aspects of their lives to communicate socially as well as do business. Many financial institutions such as banks, insurance companies, shipping companies, for example, have moved many of their services online. It is convenient for customers and faster, many would say, relative to waiting at banking halls, and cheaper if you think of the expense of getting there. The convenience of the electronic media, like most things, come at a cost.
In our laws, any crime that is committed wholly or partially with the use of electronic devices could be termed as cybercrime. I know the general public will only talk about the fraud, but there are so many of them.
Keystroke logger can be a software and it can be a physical device. Once a keystroke logger is attached to a system, it logs all activities of that system. If I work in an institution called ABX, criminals will set up a Wi-Fi with the same name ABX and then come closer to my environment. Because my employees might not be aware that those Wi-Fis are set up by criminals and they are used to the ABX network, anytime they come in, they will just try to log into ABX. Criminals will try to disable the original network and then have their own running.
Phishing is basically sending out emails with the intention of just getting people's credentials.
Man-in-the-middle attack. Hackers are able to intercept data in transit, information that is flying across networks. Criminals are able to access databases, especially on transaction databases. Like you go to e-commerce sites where they know individuals will be inputting their credentials like ATM details and PINs. These individuals are able to use an advanced brute force technology known as Kali to run a brute force attack on the web applications that interface with the database.
Malware is just a software that is designed for malicious purposes. Charlatanic adverts that are not true, that are sent out there, fake news, sextortion. Sextortion basically deals with this blackmail with nude pictures. Identity fraud is where they steal your identity to perpetrate crimes. We are going digital, and the truth is that it is good. We move everything from the physical to the virtual. The criminals will also move the activity to the virtual. So we should get ready for it.
Today, banking has moved from brick and mortar. Customers do not like to come to banking hall to come and transact. They want to sit at the comfort of their home. They want to be abroad and they want to do business. So that convenience also comes with a very huge risk. Cyber criminals are also aware of the convenience that customers are seeking, and they are making sure that they are bringing up schemes to make sure that they make money fraudulently. Internet banking, mobile banking, card, ATM, POS, all of them are at risk. The ATMs work online, so it also poses the same threat. Somebody doesn't need to have access to your ATM when he is within your banking space. Most of these cyber criminals are transnational. They could be in any country of the world and access your ATMs locally. So yes, indeed, people have been attacked with cash out frauds and all that, where the ATMs bring out money without anybody putting cards in them.
Ghanaian banks, for example, lost over $105 million last year to cyber criminals, according to the CID of the Ghana Police Service. This figure may well be much higher, since many cases are not reported for fear, perhaps, of denting customer confidence. For most of us, cybercrime is limited to Sakawa or 419. This evening, we're going to raise awareness about a whole lot more of cybercrime and the scams which unfortunately is becoming too common these days. Sakawa or 419 is essentially committed by confidence tricksters, if you like, using the internet. Let's take a quick look at a BBC video a viewer sent to us to see how some Sakawa boys in Accra operate, even pretending to be American soldiers stationed in the Middle East or elsewhere, just to defraud their victim. In this case, a single American woman.
They call us fraud boys or game boys because we do fraud to get money. We scam.
From his tiny flat, Kwaku and his friend, who goes by the nickname Skidoo, use stolen photos to create fake identities to fool their victims.
I am Johnny, and I am a military man in the US. So sometimes I'm in Palestine, sometimes I'm in Iraq, and we are helping keeping peace in that country because there's war going on and all that. So that's my main occupation. I really want to come around this Christmas so I can come and see you.
What about the flight ticket that your friend buy for you?
Yeah, my friend booked the flight ticket. I'm not hearing from my friend anymore. It's really hard times here, baby. I'm trying to video chat with you so you can see me, but the camera is not working properly. I don't know. Be talking to the person and you can even feel pity for the person. Wow, this person, she's crying and all that. You feel pity, but you need money.
Are you committing crime?
No.
I don't see it
to be a crime because it's...
You may have received a call from a cyber criminal recently instructing you to do this or that on your phone, all in order to steal your information or money. The public needs to be wary of the scams going around in order to prevent them.
You find people who have taken jobs as criminals, as hackers, who try to use various means to attack the banking environment, to attack the corporate environment so that they will get something substantial using advanced technology tricks.
But there are now so many that for the purposes of public education, we decided to compile our own top 10 of scams. Number 10, PIN number fraud.
Most of the time, most customers share the pins with their families. They be like, I'm busy, so go and withdraw money for me, this is my PIN.
Husband and wife who they know each other's PIN, and later when money leaves the account, they come and ask the institution that provided the service, nobody has gone into my account, I'm the only one who has the PIN. Meanwhile, the PIN is a family PIN.
They even provide the PIN number on the pouch in which the card has been put on. They write the PIN number on the pouch in which the card is being placed. So when somebody gets hold of the card, the PIN is already written on it, the person can transact.
Some people also write their codes and their PINs in books, in their diaries, and they share these things.
You can go with somebody to withdraw. Once maybe a cousin or a friend, when you are withdrawing the money, the person will be surfing. It's time you say, that's your key, the PIN. You should have said, watching from your shoulder, the PIN you are keying. You can come back, put your card down, you run back to the ATM with the card and transact, knowing the PIN, and come back and put the card down. And you say you are the only person using the card.
Number 9, mobile money fraud.
We just receive a text message that you have a mobile money transaction hitting your wallet, and then an individual calls you to say, this is a mistake, you have to send this to me. Now those attacks happen because the hackers are able to intercept the message that is coming to you, and then they will alter the content as though you have gotten a wallet transfer onto your mobile wallet, whereas there is no transaction taking place. they will initiate the transfer to such criminals before later they realize that it's their own money they have sent out to the criminals.
Number 8, online fraud.
Post credentials on the internet space are sometimes compromised and criminals use it to perform transactions.
Number 7, bank mobile app fraud.
Mobile money has come to stay. I mean, it's very convenient. If you look at the figures that the telcos are posting in terms of mobile money revenue, very huge. Everybody is doing it. It's the most convenient. In the past, you need to travel and put money in an envelope and give it to somebody, to be given to somebody, to be given to somebody. Sometimes bus drivers are supposed to carry these monies and they hardly reach their destinations. So again, convenience has come, but also the threats. I mean, the Momo threats are on the streets, they are in the bedrooms, they are in the churches, everywhere. You get people calling you, I've sent you some money and I made a mistake. If you can just send it to me and keep some. And by the time you realize that you even try to help the person, you have been defrauded.
Number 6, point of sale fraud.
You issue a customer a card. A customer is the card holder. He holds the card and he visits a POS or ATM to transact. Now the card holder with the card is present at the point where the terminal is. But there are instances where skimming devices are put on these terminals so that the customer puts in the card, the information on the card is cloned, is picked.
Number 5, email fraud.
There are times when customers are genuinely sending mails in regards to transactions. People intercept the mail and be communicating with the recipient of the mail. The recipient of the mail thinks that he's communicating with the owner, the original sender of the mail, and probably he instructs the person to send the money to this account. And there are many times that money has been diverted through this email account takeover.
It is only best that at all times you receive an email instructing you to transfer funds or to approve of a transaction. You first of all confirm with whoever sent that email to you. Not replying through the path, but sending an email separate to the email you received.
Number 4, farming, which has to do with stealing information.
Criminals deceive individuals through mails and URLs to click on suspicious mails, which actually redirects them to cloned websites, so that they will be able to fish information from them and use those information to attack their target. One of the riskiest part is the use of USB devices, pen drives, flash drives. You can just get a cleaner and tell the cleaner, you see this pen drive, slot it into that PC which is behind madam. By the end of the day, when I come, I'll sort you out. Gives the cleaner 1,000 cedis. The cleaner is happy that he didn't do any work. He only slotted a pen drive onto a system and he has 1,000 cedis. Meanwhile, that keystroke logger was able to record all the activities that was carried out in the course of the day, especially user credentials on the network.
For you to be vulnerable, it's both external and then internal. And the internal threats have got to do with from staff who are not honest, dishonest staff who compromise systems and give details of customers and systems to external criminals for them to perpetrate fraud. When the people you are dealing with are internal, the risk is higher.
Number 3, advance fee fraud.
People impersonate the bank, impersonate staffs of the bank. They can try to engage in a business deal with you and tell you to pay some money, and that you have received some funds into this in your account in this bank, or somebody in this bank left some money for you, so send some money, and they come back to us telling us they've been giving these documents for us to confirm some things for the money to be released, only for us to confirm the documents and tell them that these documents are not genuine, they are fraudulent. Number 2, remittance fraud. People receive remittance codes from various remittance platforms and they try to cash out these remittances in the branch. Most of the time, these codes are intercepted by hackers, or sometimes even there are teller complicity. Tellers are involved, they connive with those people who intercept these codes to withdraw the money and they share the money. So there are 3 ways it can happen. People can come into the banking hall as if they are coming to transact, and they'll be surfing around. When people are trying to fill their forms, they'll be watching the control numbers. So just and pick the control numbers, quickly walk out, give it out to a teller in a different branch to kill the transaction. So before even the person gets to the teller point, the money has been cashed out.
And number 1, card fraud.
When a card holder who has the card visits a terminal to transact himself with the presence of the card. And at that particular point, when skimming devices have been stored on those terminals, it can steal customers' information on the card. That's where the card gets cloned. It can be used to perform card-not-present transactions.
I think that in the past years, various solutions have been brought to deal with online threats, and most of them have yielded results. But the criminals have also found ways of beating it. I mean, we thought that second factor authentication was going to be the thing to go. 3D Secure was going to cure the threat of online banking in terms of cards. But today, there are reports of compromised 3D Secure. And we need to work harder. The people within the anti-cyber space need to work harder, because the criminals are always an inch ahead of us. They are investing, they are researching, they are always finding new ways of beating the solutions that we put together. Education, education, education. I mean, people have been given products that they do not understand the risk that those products brings to them. I mean, we only tell them what it can do, but they are not aware of what it can happen to them when those products get into wrong hands.
You're welcome to the discussion segment here on Ghana Police Watch, and I promise you this is going to be a really, really exciting conversation. I'm already excited, especially because of the experts who I have with me in the studio. And yes, they are experts in their fields. I'm going to be introducing them to you in a bit. First of all, I'd like to start with Dr. Herbert Gustav Yankson, who is the Director of the Cybercrime Unit of the Ghana Police Service, and he has a doctorate. Doc, you tell us a bit about your doctorate.
I have a PhD in computer science and technology, and then my research area is into information security. And I also have some expertise in digital forensics as well.
Ransford Nana Addo Jr., he works with Fidelity Bank. Now, you tell us a bit more about your qualifications, because it's not just what you do at Fidelity Bank, but you wear other hats.
Okay, so as you've mentioned, I'm the head of financial crime management for Fidelity Bank. I'm a certified fraud examiner. CFE is the biggest group of certification based in the United States Association of Fraud Examiners. Right. So it encompasses a lot of branches of fraud, financial crime, cyber crime, anti-money laundering, a whole lot of space, yes. I also act as the president of the National Fraud Forum of the Ghana Association of Bankers.
So one other thing we should get to know is Dr. has just been promoted. He is ACP, Assistant Commissioner of Police. So in fact, he is ACP Dr. Herbert Gustav Yankson. So congratulations to you, Doc, on your promotion. So let's get into the conversation. What is the state of play? Where are we when it comes to cyber crime and fraud?
Now people are getting more and more aware of these fraud schemes, and the fraudsters are also moving inches ahead.
Could it be the case that these cases are being underreported?
Yes, it could be. It could be because, if Doc will tell you, there are times you hear of cases in the media and the police will get shocked that, so this happened, how come it's not being reported?
Okay, so there are cases in the media that haven't been captured by the police in their reports.
It happens all the time. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
There are some of the cases that I just don't want to be specific, but a lot more cases, sometimes we meet at various fora and then they'll tell you, oh, we had this problem. Why wouldn't you want to report? Oh, we're trying to deal with it internally and all that. Maybe possibly trying to protect their reputation of the various organizations. So it happens. It happens.
So yeah.
And possibly because sometimes the cybercrime unit is only in Accra. They are in Cape Coast, for example. So, why worry? Just come to, because if they go to another police station, maybe they might not have the competence to or the expertise to handle it. So the best thing is that we just give it to God. So under-reporting obviously is there.
That's if we're under-reporting, then we're not really getting the full picture.
You could have institutions who would always file zero returns. They've not reported anything. But in the media, they have cases. At the police station, they have cases. But maybe with the regulator, either the NCA for the telco or BOG, there may not be figures reported. So yes, people are becoming more and more aware, and the media is getting the interest. So it might look as if the incidences are going up, but it could be that the number of cases that people are becoming aware are now increasing. The awareness is what is making it look.
All right. But are people aware what cybercrime is or what some of these fraud cases are? So probably let's start from there. Tell us some of the instances where this arises.
Okay, so you have cyber criminals who target corporate institutions and send phishing emails instructing them to make transfers from one bank account to the other. And based on the level of awareness of a staff in that institution, he or she may oblige and do the transfer, and that is it, money has been stolen. So in other instances too, you have mobile money, which is more of the consumer. So you have an old lady who is seated and somebody calls and say that, see, I have mistakenly transferred some money to you. It's 300 cedis. You can transfer 200 and keep the 100 cedis as an old lady. So the old lady just instructs her son, send this money back to wherever it came from, and she's been defrauded. You have remittances that people have received that by the time they enter into institutions to go and pick their money, somebody else has gotten a wind of the code and has taken it. You have people whose ATM details are compromised, online shopping. I mean, there's a whole myriad of it.
What are some of the notable cases that come to your attention, Doc?
When it comes to cybercrime, there are so many of them. I mean, if I have to categorize them, we have the fraud, we have various forms of intrusion, which involves hacking and all those, the very technical part of it. So many different that we have. But of course, in Ghana, the most common is the fraud, where I think he's mentioned the credit card, he's mentioned the mobile money, he's mentioned the sandbox fraud, now online forex, cryptocurrency fraud, so many of them, so many different. So it's something that, for me, I always say that we are so gullible, and that is why it is so, awareness is one of the key ways to go. Within the statistics, it is obvious that 60, for example, last year, 60% of them were related to fraud. And if that is the case, then we are so susceptible to social engineering particularly. And then if it's social engineering, it's something that we can have a patch for. And the patch is awareness. So that is what we need to do a lot more of awareness creation to sensitize the general public. This is what is happening, and then to tell them the kind of schemes that they are employing so that they will just be able to protect themselves. Because a lot of the things are reliant on user interventions. So that is what is required.
So you talk about awareness, which is why we're having a program like this. Yeah. And I'm coming to you, Nanado. We are aware that there are some external threats to the bank, and then we also have internal threats. If you could just elaborate, because we had that in the documentary.
Okay, so in every human institution, just like the organizations, it could be a telecom, it could be a bank, it could be insurance, you have staff within the institution who may be greedy, who may want to cut corners to make money. So these are people who have access to systems, who may compromise systems to make money, to steal from customers and maybe the institutions. So that is there. Now, usually, if you look at the quantum of frauds that are experienced within organizations, the external ones have bigger quantums, because you look at their nature, most of them, like Dr. mentioned, especially the hacking and the intrusion, these are usually sometimes transnational. you trace it and you realize that it's coming from Dubai, or it's coming from Russia, or it's coming from South Africa or USA, and you find it very difficult to understand. How can somebody be in South Africa, Dubai, or USA and come into a system in a telco, insurance, or a bank? And so that is it.
Essentially, these external intruders are coming at your systems, hacking it, by using the cyberspace.
Yeah.
And what, to withdraw money or to transfer money?
Okay, so
and maybe let me just put this out. So Addo, at this point, he's also, as we indicated earlier, he's also president of the Fraud Forum, which is at the banking level. So Ghana Institution of Bankers,
Ghana Association
of Bankers, at that level. So some of the conversations we'll be having would not be so specific to Fidelity Bank. In fact, not specific to Fidelity Bank, but generally in the banking sector. So please feel free to give us some examples.
Yeah, so like I was saying, you have people who hack into systems. Now, one of the key things, usually when you talk about hacking, people think that it's money. Information is more valuable than money. Because if you have people's account details, then you can make money out of it.
All right.
So when people have hack into systems and they get authentication details, obviously they can do transactions.
Authentication details, as in they can hack into the system and know what your PIN,
Exactly.
the customer's PIN is, for instance.
Exactly. So internally, like I said, if you have somebody who is able to hack into a system and at that point compromises the systems and is able to see people who have logged into systems with their password, and then they are able to, I think we call it keyloggers, right?
Yeah, keyloggers, yeah.
They get the password into systems, they can be a bank teller.
And then once this hacker gets access to that information, essentially they're probably opening a new account and transferring money into it.
Exactly. So these monies are withdrawn across different countries. I mean, there have been cases both abroad and home where monies have been withdrawn via ATM after different transactions were put into different accounts that had been created. But you know that one of our biggest challenges is our identification system. Because if indeed we are able to put faces to these people and we know that these are people who have opened accounts, even when these things happen, we may be able to look for them. But one, if it's not transnational and they are within the country, it will be interesting to know that, and Doc will tell you, that some of the IDs that these people use in registering either Momo or opening accounts, they just don't exist.
It's true though, and which is why government keeps talking about this national identification system, the Ghana cards that they're trying to introduce. But is it that bad that people, they have multiple IDs with different names?
Fake IDs are in the system. I mean, Israel, don't be surprised that we try to investigate and then we get to a name like Kofi 123 or Kofi Ama. So
Kofi 123.
Yeah, of course.
No, but how is it possible that anybody allows anybody to register with Kofi 123?
So we have a problem with that database. It's not something that we can rely on it, and there is the need to sanitize that the whole database.
So if you come across Kofi 123, essentially you've come to a roadblock. You can't proceed any further.
It's over. It's over. What we need to do is either go through his call logs and then see whether we can have any other avenues to continue.
So they may be interacting with other people, and so you approach those other people who probably be genuine.
There are so many things we can get from their call logs. That is what we can do. Otherwise, I mean, ideally we are supposed to have a face to an ID card and other information. So if it is fake, everything is fake, then that's the end of the story. We need to shift focus and then see whether we can get something from elsewhere.
So Addo was telling us about the external threats to the banks, and I know you're also having to deal with some of these fraud cases. What are the cases you tend to deal with more? Is it the external threats or the internal threats?
Well, you remember I mentioned fraud. Fraud is both internal and then external. And then let me come to the various forms of intrusion where somebody enters a system without authority. And that is where possibly hacking and all those things comes in. But truth be told, most of the cases that we have seen relate to an insider threat, where somebody within an organization would assist somebody from external to come in. that is mostly the trend. Most of the cases, about, let me say 60–70% of intrusion cases where somebody has come in and moved money from one account to the other and withdrawn by ATMs, most often there is an insider.
So let me get this clear. There's somebody inside,
yes,
colludes with somebody outside.
Yes.
They move money from one account to another.
For example, he opens a door. The bank is locked. So, I mean, analogy, I'm just giving a simple analogy. The bank is locked. The gates are, all the doors are locked. So he decides that I want to give you something that would help you remotely open a door.
This is going to be done electronically?
Electronically. If I go electronic, maybe people wouldn't understand. That's why I'm giving you
the analogy,
just a simple analogy. For example, I install some keyloggers, right? I install keyloggers. Keyloggers are not supposed to be used technically. They are not used for bad purposes, but the criminals are using it. So it logs all passwords within the system. And then now that same malware would open a back door so that somebody can remotely come in. He's got the keys because of the passwords. Then he enters any accounts. He's got the privileges. So he says, I'm not aware, because truth be told, he wasn't even in the office that day. And most often it happens either at the weekend or something, or a holiday when there's nobody in the office. So, I mean, he can plead alibi that I wasn't there. So then somebody comes in and then opens the door, and then he comes in to do any other transactions. They move it into an account which has already been created, or a new account that has been created preparing for that operation.
Probably with a fictitious name.
Some of them we've seen it with a fictitious name. There was one that there was a fictitious name, and then eventually we had to trace it to the original name. So, but that was during investigations. So they created with a fictitious name, but of course the pictures are there. You can't run away from it. And then the ATM cards. So monies are withdrawn from different ATMs.
Oh.
Yeah, they start withdrawing. They will withdraw some from ATM. They will move some into other accounts. Now he moves the money into one account that he's in control of, and then he's got some other accomplices that he moves the money to all of them. And then they will all be withdrawing from different ATMs at the same time.
There was an instance like that in the UK. It was this WhatsApp video that was making the rounds, where we had some guys were arrested actually. So that's the kind of scheme you're talking about.
Yeah, of course. It's happening here, here in Ghana.
Israel, let me just add to what Doc said. There are times where the people who are used by these external criminals may be inside, but they don't even know what they are doing.
Okay.
So
they don't know that they're colluding.
Yes, it could be a cleaner, it could be an attendant, it could be a security man who said, oh, this person who sits on that role in the company left a pen drive with me. Please slot it in that PC for me when you are cleaning on Friday. And like you were saying, that pen drive may be the key to open up systems. And then remotely, they move money. Now, before this will be done, now one of the things that we usually underestimate these guys is that they plan. So before that, they have people who have accounts that are waiting to be used. Again, some of these people may not even know that this is the purpose of they being asked to go and open account or have Momo account and all that. When the monies are moved into these accounts, they have to withdraw them and bring it back to their master. So what you saw in the US, I mean, it's true. Now, the other category, it could be external one, where through the use of websites, some websites are created, fictitious ones that look like a bank or a telco and insurance website, and then they request for some confidential information. In the case of the bank, give your card number, give your expiry date, give your date of birth, give this, and they think they are dealing with their banks. Usually when they put this up there, you see them leave a notice that we are supposed to do an upgrade of systems, and within the next 48 hours, if you don't give us these details, you may not be able to operate your account. So based on the urgency, you see people put all these details in there, but they are also taking the information on real time, and they are either shopping online or they are creating other details. Now, Doc mentioned ATM ATM scheming is also something that has been on the increase for the past 2-3 years in this country. I mean, bad people, these guys go plug scheming devices on ATMs. And there are times where you go to particular joint and you see a chain of ATMs like Kolibu.
ATM bank.
Yes, they call it ATM farm, yes. So you see a chain of ATMs at a particular place and they go put the scheming devices that are used in copying the card details from the customer's cards. They put a pinhole camera to take the pin details, and then when they are done, they create duplicate of these cards and then they make withdrawals. Now, if they realize that an ATM is a little bit secure, then they cannot compromise. They put glue on the keypad and they put a notice that this ATM is faulty, go to these ones.
So essentially, they are directing
the traffic
where they want.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So the external threats are there, the internal ones are there, the external ones are also there.
Right. Let's talk about Momo fraud. Incidentally, we have a clip which just goes to demonstrate exactly what is happening out there. So let's just watch this clip and return and have some more conversations about this.
Hello.
Hello.
Please, how are you?
I'm fine.
Please, am I talking to Abganati?
Yes.
Okay. It's MTN. We call you this afternoon. So you are welcome to MTN this afternoon.
Okay.
This afternoon, one of our customers made complaint that mistakenly sent mobile money through to your wallet. You have reversed the money back, the person money back. So we are just calling you to open your account. That's why we are just calling you, please. Haven't you get any message that your account has been suspended?
Yeah, I've gotten a message.
You have got the message?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So at the time block, where you have balance on your account before the account was suspended?
Yes, I do.
Please, it's how much?
I have over 1,000 in it.
You have over 1,000?
Yes.
Oh, then you are very sorry to block your account. So please, your phone, is it keepers or touch?
Is it what?
Your phone, is it keepers or touch, please?
Is it keypad or touch?
Yes, please.
Oh, but that one, it's keypad.
It's keypad. Yeah, okay, so you just replace it on loudspeaker, so when I talk, you hear it well, please.
Okay. Yes, I've put it on loudspeaker.
Yeah, so dial *171# on your phone. I'm on the line. Don't hang up.
Okay, *171#. *171#.
Yes, please.
Okay, I've done that.
Have you dialed it on the phone?
Yes.
The one I'm just talking to you. Have you dialed it?
Yeah.
So have you sent it?
If I dial, what should I send it? I should send it.
Yes, you just send it. The options will come on it.
Okay. So which of the options should I choose?
So there's an option on it.
It hasn't come yet.
It has not come yet. Then dial it again. *171#.
But if you from MTN, you can take the money for him directly, right?
Yeah. You said?
If MTN, you can take the money for him directly without me processing it on my phone. And right now that my account has been blocked, how does it go through?
Yeah, because it's a mistake that the person was just in it. So right now, as I'm talking to the person, transfer line is also not working because your account has been suspended, so you can't open the person account at the same time your account has been blocked. So that's why you are just calling. You have done the recharge here, so you are just coming to do the confirmation on your phone, please.
Oh, but the money he sent to my account is too small for you to even steal the kind of money I'm saying is in my account.
Yeah, it's true, please.
And so why should I follow what you're saying?
Oh, because you have done the recharge here.
So how different are you from the scammers?
You said?
How different are you from the scammers so that I know you are real? How different are you?
Oh, from the MTN.
So how different are you from the scammers? Are you aware there are scammers?
Yes.
Are you one of them?
No.
You sure you are not one of them?
Yes, please.
So why are you calling me with a private number? MTN does not call with a private number.
It shows on your phone like private number, eh?
I'm asking you how did
I said that it shows on your phone like private number, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's emergency. That's why, please. Because we have some certain code on. This one is a mobile money code line, eh? So we have 1001515, but this is our mobile money line, please.
Mm-hmm. So I'm asking, how different are you from the scammers?
From the scammers?
Yes.
Oh, but I'm not a scammer, please. How can I scam you?
You are. So what's your name? You didn't tell me your name. You're calling from MTN. And you didn't call me your
My name is called Agent Boateng Emmanuel.
Agent Boateng Emmanuel.
Yes,
Which
please.
branch of MTN are you?
Osu branch.
Osu. And today being Saturday is open there?
Yes, please.
So Osu, who is the manager there?
He said, who is the manager here?
Yes, the branch of Osu, because I know. Who is the manager there?
Please, hello?
Yes.
So should I give the line to our manager?
Your people are coaching you. He said, so what's the name? I'm asking you. I didn't tell you to give it to your manager. What's the name of your manager?
Hello?
Yeah, talk.
You said what?
I'm asking the name of your manager.
The name?
Yes.
The name is... Hello?
Why are you taking long to answer the question?
This one, your account has...
My account has been what?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm all yes.
I said, your account is blocked. So right now, we are here to unlock your account for you, and you are there and you're asking some questions.
So don't unlock it. I want it to be blocked, okay?
You want your account to be blocked?
Yes.
Okay. So good luck.
Go and try it on those people who don't know you are scammers, okay?
Foolish girl.
Next time, know where to pass through.
All right, so as we all saw, this is getting sophisticated. They call and they're telling you that we're calling from MTN. This is getting, they're getting more sophisticated as it is.
That is true, but it's because, you see, MTN has also countless times come out to tell the general public that we call you with a specific number. So make sure that if anybody calls you and it's not this number, don't trust that number. So it still boils down to the fact that we need to do a lot more education. Exactly. Otherwise, it's happening. It's happening. Momo fraud is also increasing. From our statistics, it's increasing every year, and the amounts involved are increasing. The numbers are increasing. It's quite worrying, and for us, one of the few things that we are proposing is investigating Momo is quite difficult for us. Not because we cannot do it, but it's because the data sits with the telcos, and we can only access it with a court order. So it drags the whole process. Right. So that is where the biggest challenge for us is. And if we have to go through the courts before reaching the telco, then I get the data. I come and work on it. I see that there is the need for maybe some more information. Then I need to still go back through the courts again to the telco. So currently, I'm trying to engage the telco to tell them that, look, can you do all the analysis at your end? You have access to them. You can do all the analysis, look at all the loopholes, and then give me an information. That makes my job much easier. Exactly. So that is the kind of discussion that we are entering to with the telcos, so that because it is increasing and it's convenient for everybody. Yeah. For me, I use it. I use it for my mother. I use it for my nephews who are in school. So we are not going to stop. And I believe that all Ghanaians would agree with me that we cannot stop using it. So, but however, we need to find...
Let's tighten the systems, let's tighten the
such
controls.
that the criminals cannot... Because the criminals are such that they are also taking advantage of the loopholes within the system and then perpetrating these acts.
So apparently these criminals are becoming even more sophisticated.
Yeah, they are. I think that the evolution of these kind of crimes, I mean, the initial stage is, okay, when you meet somebody who is not so intelligent and is not educated, that you just hit him, get some few money. So opportunistic. And then they started getting planned. And then you move to the stage where now it's organized. More people are involved. An insider from a telco, an insider from an insurance company, an insider from a bank is involved. Yeah. And today, it's automated. So if you can even hear jingles being played as if you are talking to a bank or a telco from the back end. They are getting sophisticated every day. And like Doc said, if you target a consumer, you may get 200 CDs, 300 CDs. But if you target a merchant now, the merchant story is entirely different.
Merchants are also being attacked.
So that is a point where people go and either receive or cash out.
Yeah.
So you get a call as a merchant and say that, okay, we are calling from MTN. We've seen that you are making a lot of errors. We've calling from Vodafone. Realize that the rate at which you do transactions are delayed. So we want to show you a faster one. But before we do that, let's test your system. Put in your PIN. You've done that. Okay, where the amount is, we are going to give you an amount just to test your system. Put 63579 at the amount side. Put this phone number there. What do you see? Press OK. Confirm by pressing 1, and money has left your till. So,
and this merchant is thinking that I'm dealing with
a telco, an MTN agent or a Vodafone agent or a Airtel Tigo agent, officer from the head office.
Coming at the banks too, these mobile money fraudsters?
I mean, today, mobile money is everywhere. It's in the bank, so yes. In our conversations at the Fraud Forum, it's come up that they've called a couple of bank branches to say that we are calling from MTN or Vodafone. Want to take your tellers to error reversals. And
they call the bank?
They call, yes.
And speak to the tellers that we're calling from MTN.
And they are so professional. When they're doing this, it's well rehearsed. And they call with numbers. They make you speak to a technician who will tell you that, yes, we need to do this in a very short time. We have other banks to attend to, we have other branches to call. So just go on and then key this number, put this phone number there, listen carefully. What do you see? Okay, it's asking me to press 1 or 2. Press 1. What do you see now? It's asking for amount. Okay, for just this, the purpose of this training, put 3758 there. And that is an amount. So awareness, like Doc said, is the way to go because it's very convenient. It's something that has come to stay. And everybody likes it. It makes life very, very easy.
How do you advise your colleagues? How do you curb a trend like this? How do they prevent this kind of fraud? I'm talking at the banking level.
So I think it's awareness. It's general. It's awareness. Everybody, both consumer, Momo, banking, it's awareness. I mean, it will surprise you if you move to an ATM and you see an inscription there. It will surprise you it's an old man's PIN. He'll tell you that I'm growing old. I can't keep this in my head for a very long time. So I've written it here. My house is just across the street. This is the ATM I use, so I've written it there.
So he's publicly displayed his PIN.
He has written it there. He says that I don't have time and I'm growing. I can't keep this. I'll forget. So I've written it by the ATM. I mean, as much as we
But that's a no.
Yes.
All right. So clearly, you don't share your PIN with anybody. The PIN is supposed to be private.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to keep it somewhere else, but certainly not on the ATM machine.
So there are others who, for the purpose of convenience, they don't want to go to the ATM, especially the rural areas. Those who come from the district to the capital too. So you see a young man with bicycle, and he has a paper. It is ATM PIN numbers for his various aunties, grand aunties, and uncles. So he comes and then if you are Mansa, 50 Ghana, then he'll take. This is he'll take. And when money gets missing, they will come to the service provider for their money, but they are sharing their PIN.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we spoke about insiders. The insiders, some of them too, are in the houses. Yeah. We've recorded cases where boyfriends, husbands, fathers are even stealing from their own children because when I ask my son for money, he doesn't give me.
Oh no!
So he either transacts.
This may sound funny, but it's actually serious.
I mean, it's real. It's real. So Doc will tell you that some of these cases, immediately you get to the point where they realize that, okay, it is my own family member, it's my husband, or it's my wife, or it's my girlfriend, they are no longer interested.
In pushing.
Yes.
Now we see it all the time, where they are no longer interested. Daughters are stealing from their daddies, and sometimes fathers get surprised. Oh, really? I give my card to my daughter to use it once, and then eventually he's got all the details. So now he goes online and shopping.
Oh, online. So they actually don't need a card.
Sometimes they don't.
They don't need the PIN.
They don't need any.
When they take the details, it's just one time. When you take it, that is it.
And then they shop.
Yeah.
So sometimes we have to trace the goods, where did it go,
and all that.
and delivery and all that. Then eventually it lands on somebody. So it is happening. So awareness is the key. 2, the police needs to build capacity as a nation. Business, commercial network owners, businesses, individuals, everybody. We need to get everybody on board.
You talk about these things so eloquently because you're an expert, but you also talk about the fact that we need to build capacity.
Yes.
I'm wondering how the kind of capacity the police have. I'm sure you've been interacting with them. How qualified are they to understand some of these things when they happen?
I mean, Israel, it's very obvious. I mean, you have docs seated here. They are very good, very, very knowledgeable police officers, but they are very few. They are very, very few. I mean, if you go to the district and all that, and we are talking about things like Momo, it's everywhere from the villages is there. Yeah. If you lose money and you want to report to somebody who can track and go for court order and understand CDRs and do tracking of goods with a delivery, I mean, you can't. If you go to a village where somebody has lost money, how many of the police officers there understand what Doc is talking about? So whether we like it or not, this is convenience, but it is also it also comes with some threats. The people who are supposed to help us fight it, we need to support them. And if we can duplicate a lot of people like Doc in the system, we need to help the police understand these things. They are very good and very knowledgeable police officers. If we deal with them, you'll be amazed, but they are just few. So we need to increase capacity together with corporate bodies. I mean, let's support them. Let's give training from telcos, insurance banks. We give training and then...
Currently, what we are trying to do is to get some few people to go and do master's degree in information security, IT, technology-related courses. So that is what we are trying to do.
But basic training at the detective school?
Of course. So that is what I'm about to talk about. Currently, we have incorporated digital evidence and cybercrime investigations into the curriculum of detective training. So that is currently ongoing, even at the academy level, which is for senior officers. It's also there now. And then at the command and staff, where we go for refresher courses, it's also there now. So currently what we need to do is, where we are trying to get it in is our training schools for recruits. But it's difficult because they are scattered all over the country, and we need to get TOT, trainer of trainers, so that they would go back and train other people, because currently I and then my own team, we are doing all the training for these schools, and if it comes to that basic training, then it's going to be problematic.
Now, Doc, how do you're supposed to be chasing the criminals?
Yes.
You're also supposed to be training.
Exactly.
How do you combine the two?
Well, service for Ghana and mankind, that's all. So I do both. I train at the detective training because I'm an investigator, so I train there, and then I train at the senior officers level. I'm a senior officer, so I'm able to do that. But then, of course, it means a lot of the time I may have to be doing this for kinds of training, and then I have little time at the office. So, but at least I have able lieutenants who are able to take care of the investigations, and then so as and when I go back, they brief me what has happened, and then if there is the need to redirect an investigations, I come in and give that kind of information.
In all of this, where does the Bank of Ghana sit, or what is the Bank of Ghana doing about it? Maybe you want to take that up.
Okay, so Bank of Ghana brought up a directive recently on cybersecurity directive, and very, very, very good effort. I think it's given the banks 3 years to put some reforms in place. One of them critically is to, on the area of cards, for instance, all the banks are supposed to ensure that they are PCI DSS compliant. So
what's PCI DSS?
Okay, so PCI DSS, Payment Card Industry Data Security Standards.
All right.
So it's a global standard to make sure that if you are issuing cards, if you are managing cards, you are the peak.
You've put certain things in place.
So I think there's a 3-year roadmap. Also, you need to appoint a CISO, a Chief Information Security Officer, a very senior person who implements strategy. So within the 3 years, the BOG expects that all banks will appoint a CISO,
right,
a Chief Information Security Officer, who will be a senior person within the bank to implement the IT security standards. Yes, yes, independence of IT. So that's a good way to go, and a couple of standards that have been introduced in the system. The kind of systems that you use in processing transactions, especially within the e-banking space, is also being enforced. So within the next 3 years, I think sanctions would come in. But a lot of the banks, I must add quickly, are already doing this, or have already done that. If you look at the banking space, this PCI DSS, most of the banks are already certified.
So thank you very much. We've had ACP Dr. Herbert Gustav Yankson, who's a director of the Cyber Crime Unit of the Ghana Police Service, CID. And we've also had Ransford Nana Addo Jr., who is with Fidelity Bank, and he's a certified fraud examiner. Thank you very much, both of you, for making time to be on the show. And thank you, too, for watching this program, Ghana Police Watch. I would say a good night to you, and be safe.